Hey yo bladrins, welcome back to a new lightning quick repairs episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at a piece of software called Macrium Reflect. Now this isn't really a repair video, it's more or less depending on what you want to take out of it. If you want to repair a computer to have the same image as another one, yeah, you can think of it as a repair, but more or less it's just a tutorial on how to image a hard drive exactly the way one computer is onto another. I'm going to be going over this software from start to finish just so you guys can understand everything from start to finish basically and come to grips of how the software works. It's very easy. I'm on Macrium's website right now, and as you can see I'm on the free trials version, right? Because they have a paid version and they've got a trial. Now the trial has all the tools that you'd need. This is Macrium Reflect, a workstation right here. That is for businesses, commercial use. And then if I scroll down, there's the home trial and the home version. So that's obviously for people like me who do it at home. I've downloaded the free trial, but annoyingly with Macrium's website you have to put in details. You could just spam whatever in, but also there's another website from these guys, TechSpot, that have just a straight up exe file that you could just download and install instead of having to put in a bunch of rubbish. Once you've downloaded this, obviously if you are going to be doing this in a commercial environment, please purchase the software. And obviously if you're going to be doing this a lot at home, then buy the software. It's cheap, it's not too much, so it'll be worth your time. But obviously if you're going to be doing this once or twice, it's really not worth it, so that's why a trial would be perfectly fine. I've just got it in my downloads folder right here, so here we go. Just double click that and it'll ask you to allow administrative privileges, so just click yes, and now you can click on next. Here we go, we've got the actual setup program running, so let's click on next. I accept, next. How do you intend to use this free edition? Obviously it's for personal use, so you want to do personal use. If you click on commercial use, right, it says there will be no more than 10 concurrent installations of the software within this organization, right? So with this, with the free version, you can only use it 10 times, I'm assuming, but obviously because I'm doing this at home, then yeah, it's not really a commercial environment. So I'm gonna agree to this and click on next. Now when you get to this screen right here, it says install VI boot, so you don't have to do it, but I recommend it for advanced users. If you're going to be doing imaging and you know your image will work perfectly fine, or you're not going to be using it as much, no need. But for people like me who do it a lot, then yeah, install VI boot, because it's basically a plugin that will help you run your images that you make inside a virtual machine. Let's say if something were to go wrong on real hardware, you can test it on VI boot, aka VirtualBox, whatever it is, Hyper-V, and then you can see right then and there if there's something wrong with your image, so that saves time. So I'm going to install that just for my own personal use, so let's click on install. And I've got my boost can with me as well. You gotta have a boost. There we go. So it says complete the Macrium Reflect free setup, launch now, so let's click on finish. So what you want to do when it opens is have a USB drive on hand. The reason why you want to have a USB drive on hand is because we are going to be making a recovery USB, basically a bootable rescue media. So you can use any drive, you can use I recommend 8 GB or higher. Macrium Reflect updaters, this has come up because my build is just a little bit older, but that doesn't affect anything, so I'll just cancel that. So here is the actual menu that you can see. So it shows up the disk. So this is your internal disk right here. So disk 1 is your SSD hard drive inside the machine that you're using right now. As you can see right here, there's a little blue line under this partition. If you click on the different partitions, it brings up this action. Now you see this drop down menu says image disk partition only, file system properties. Don't really need to do any of this. So let's say if you didn't want to image the whole disk, let's just say you wanted to image just the Windows partition itself, then you can click on that partition, actions, image this partition only. It's pretty cool. Now this is on the create backups page. This is what it loads into default. So what I would want you guys to do is grab your USB drive right now, and I'll be right back. There we go. Now my USB drive has come up. So what you want to do is you want to format this USB drive, but Macrium will do it for you anyways. So what you want to do is click on rescue on the top left, and this is the menu for making the USB drive itself. So you want to click on removable USB flash drive, so it shows up the USB drive right here. Alternatively, you can also make a ISO file if you want to image it to a CD or whatever later. So it's pretty cool. Now you want to click on advanced, and the reason why you want to click on advanced is you want to select the architecture, and this is important because if you have a 64-bit image but you're loading on a 32-bit machine, of course it's not going to work. So make sure you double check that, but 9 times out of 10 it should be 64-bit. Anyways, what you also want to do is enable legacy EFI screen resolution support. The reason why I want to do this is because some computers that I have experienced in my time of using this software has screwed up the resolution basically, so it loads up at 640 by 480 and everything's blown up. You can't get to the menu, so this will help fix that. You don't really need Wi-Fi support, so if that's on, just leave it on. It's not really a problem. So where it says choose base Wim, that's basically choose base Windows image, right? And there's quite a few different ones. So this is Windows RE, this is Windows recovery environment, there's Windows PE, which is pre-installation environment. This is not really too much of a thing that you guys should wrap your head around. The reason why I bring you guys to this screen right here is because let's say if you have an older machine, let's say a Windows 7 era machine, and you have a Windows 11. As you can see, this one is default to Windows RE11. That's a Windows 11 build of this software, so it's running with Windows 11's recovery or pre-installation environment. But let's say your Windows 7 machine cannot support Windows 11, of course it's not going to boot. So you come to this page and you want to choose something where it actually makes sense. So most of the time Windows 10, Windows PE 10 should be perfectly fine. And then if you want to go a little bit older, just to be on the safe side, and this will also load on newer machines, you can do Windows PE 5.0. Now this is the best for all of them, so I'm going to be choosing Windows RE, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you should be choosing PE 11 or PE 10. That's most likely what you're going to be using anyways. So I'm going to be clicking on that, so I'm going to click on OK. And now where it says USB rescue media options, it says enable multi-boot, MBR or UEFI. So if you have UEFI on your system, it will use UEFI. If you have BIOS or legacy BIOS, it will use the MBR, right? It's perfect for both. So it's good just to have all in one. So now let's click on build. And let's click on this. It's basically saying, yeah, this is for personal use, blah, blah. Click on OK. Here we go, so it's now building the image. And now when it comes to this screen right here, depending on what you select and if you have done this before, sometimes it will come up and ask you need to download something from Microsoft. That's basically the pre-installation environment package and the recovery environment package, so it can build that USB drive. So if it comes up with that saying you need to download this from Microsoft, download it, otherwise it just won't work. Alright, so my USB drive requires formatting. Now if you have any data on your USB drive, make sure you pull it off right now, because I'm not responsible for any data loss, just saying, right? And it'll warn you here. So let's click on confirm format. I've got nothing on this drive. Okay, never mind then. Okay, the USB has completed, so let's click on OK. Close. Now that the USB drive has been successfully created, you can now turn off this computer or put it to the side, wherever. You don't need this computer anymore. Get your machine that you want to image and we'll take it from there. Alright guys, now that I've got my laptop ready to go, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I'm actually going to turn the computer on into Windows first, just so you can see what it looks like, and then I can show you what to do after. Now, the laptop that I actually originally wanted to do for this video to image, for some dumb reason, one of them just decided not to boot. Some sort of RAM problem, I don't know. Tried replacing RAM, no idea. So I spent a dumb amount of time figuring that out. And then I decided, fuck it, whatever, I'm just going to try a different computer. So I've got a different computer right here. It's a Samsung, I'll show you the model number after. It's a Series 3 Samsung laptop. It's a really nice model. And it's funny because I've got an RV511, as you guys know, right? Yeah, got another one. So yeah, I'm gonna image that one. But yeah, this is running Windows 7. That one has Windows 7 as well. And that one, the RV511, has got no image on it. So this will be a perfect candidate to show you how to image. There we go. So as you can see, this is all factory fresh. Luckily this computer had its recovery partition, so I just recovered it back to factory default. So you can see all the original programs, the widgets, all that kind of stuff is here. It's running Windows 7. So now that you've seen what it looks like and all the pop-ups from Samsung are starting to come up, what we can do is we can shut this computer down, and I'll show you how to get into the USB drive. So let's plug that in. There we go, that's the USB drive plugged in. Now obviously it depends on what computer you have. This is a Samsung, so it's either Escape or F10. You can Google the laptop that you guys have and find the boot menu key for that. So this one, it should be Escape. Let's see. I lost focus. Oh, dang it. Give it a second. There we go. So before it was a SanDisk USB, but I've had to change it. It's a verbatim one, so let's enter that one. Let's see. Should come up. What I'll do is I'll fast forward this. There we go. So it's finally loaded now. Oh, that took 10 years to figure out. Alright, so as you can see, it's loaded up into the Macrium Reflect pre-installation environment. So as you can see, it looks exactly the same, and the reason why is because it basically is, it's just running the application in a pre-installation environment off a USB drive, so it makes it great for offline booting. Now as you can see, it loads up into the existing backups page. So this is if you already have an image. We'll have to come back to this later, but when you are making your image, you have to go to create backups. So let's click on that, and it shows up the drives. So this is the USB drive that you've got right here, and this is the internal hard drive that you want to create a backup of. So you have your external hard drive ready. So I'm using an external hard drive here, and let's plug that in. There we go. Give it a few seconds, and it's not going to automatically come up. And one thing I can't do now is unplug the USB drive because it's loaded into RAM, so you don't really need the USB drive anymore. So click on refresh, give it a few times. There we go. So it's come up here. Now what you want to do here is, you can see this is check marked, so you can uncheck mark that one, and don't click on a partition, just click on an empty area just so it's got this selected, and you can see it says image this disk. So you want to click on image this disk, and you want to click on folder. So let's select a drive. So I'm using my external hard drive, and I've named it Macrium Reflect Recovery 4. This is my 4th hard drive of images, and I've named it just for this reason. So let's do that and give it a name. So Samsung, I don't know what the model number of this is. Windows 7 home factory image. And of course you can give it whatever name you want, but that's just the name I'm gonna put in just for now. I'm gonna rename it later. Click on next and click on finish. So that's it there. That's gonna be imaging right now, and it said 115 gigabytes earlier, but it's not gonna be that big. It's just scanning how much data is on the hard drive, and then it's just giving that exact number, but the image is not going to be that big. As an example, I had a HP computer or something like that, 500 gig hard drive, Windows, reimaged, all that kind of stuff, factory fresh, but it gave me an estimate, same thing, around like 90 gigs, but in the realistic scenario the image ended up being around what, 30 gigabytes. So yeah, so I'm gonna leave this running. It's going to be imaging right now. I'll let it time lapse, and yeah, we'll be back when this is done. the computer has just finished imaging right now. Unfortunately, literally just the last bit left, and then my iPhone tells me it's run out of storage, for God's sake. So I've just switched over to my iPhone 7. Apologies if the audio quality has changed. I don't really use iPhone 7s to film, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug in my light. I had to turn it off so I can plug in my iPhone. There we go. Now that looks a lot better. So it says that it took 45 minutes, and of course it depends on the hard drive speed and how much data is on there. So this took 45 minutes to do because it was quite a lot. Now when it comes to SSDs, it's usually very zippy, especially if you're also imaging to an SSD. It's quick, it's really quick, but obviously when it comes to hard drives it's a bit slower. Anyways, let's click on close, and once this is done you can just exit, right? So you can exit with two ways: file, exit, or press this power button. If you want to reboot, you can reboot, shut down. I want to shut this down because we don't need this anymore, so let's shut it down. Now imagine I had to rebuild my USB drive because the last shot I tried plugging this in, and as I said earlier, right, the Windows 10 and Windows 11 build of Macrium Reflect does not obviously work with these machines because it's too new. So I had to do the same process again of building the USB, but instead of choosing Windows 10 or Windows RE or whatever it was, I chose Windows 3.1, and that is made for Windows 7 machines. So that's what we're going to be booting off of, but the look and everything is exactly the same. So let's plug this in and let's hit escape. Here we go, SanDisk. And yes, you can see me, I look like a complete mess. Here we go. There we go. So as you can see, it looks ever so slightly different with the UI's color and stuff like that. If I were to drag this down, you can see it's kind of got that Windows PE wallpaper in the background, but that's not really a problem at all. So what we want to look for here, if I just let that focus again, is existing backups, which it normally boots into anyways. And we want to get our USB hard drive, our external hard drive, ready. You can unplug the Macrium Reflect USB now, put that off to the side, and let's plug in our hard drive over here. There we go, and give it a few seconds. If I go to create backups, you can see that there is absolutely no hard drive in here. Is that? Hold on, let's see. Maybe it's just not formatted. If you know you have a hard drive in here, yeah, it's not showing up, you can check disk parts. So that's what I'm gonna do. There most likely might not be a hard drive in here, I'm not entirely too sure. List disk. Okay, so there is no hard drive in it. Okay, no worries. So let's click on browse for an image file, and oh god, yeah, I forgot about this layer. Let's do computer. Here we go, Macrium Reflect Recovery 4. Where is it? Where is it? And as you can see, I have made a lot of images. I think it's, yeah, it's that one. There we go. So let's click on open. There we go. So let's click on restore, and then select a disk to restore to. This basically asks you which drive do you want to restore it to. And one thing that I did want to mention that nobody else seemed to mention in their tutorials is the fact that, let's say you have a bigger hard drive exactly like this, right? So you can see it takes down the model number and everything and the size of the hard drive, and then it shows you exactly what the size of each partition was. Now as you can see, the last hard drive that we imaged was a 1 terabyte. This is a 120 gigabyte. So how the hell are you gonna do that? Well, the way you do it is by clicking on copy partitions. And now normally if you have the same drive, right, or if you have the same size drive, that normally wouldn't come up if it knows it will fit perfectly. But if it knows it's not going to fit perfectly, let's say you got a smaller or a bigger disk that you want to image to, then this menu is going to come up. So the first option is exact partition offset and length. So that basically means it will one-to-one copy the partitions exactly how they are. And then obviously this one is a little bit more self-explanatory. Shrink or extend to fill the target disk. So that basically means that, let's say if the C drive is too big, then it's going to shrink it down to fit on that drive. So that's what we want to do. And there is not enough space. Let's try it like this. Let's see. Yep, as you can see, not enough space. Alright guys, I just realized I had another Samsung Windows 7 image, and this is made for this computer, I'm pretty sure. And 101 things are going wrong in this video, so apologies about that. I'll edit it down to a watchable format, but also just easy to follow. But yeah, let's restore this one. This is Windows 7, and this is made for this computer. It came from the RV711, so the 17-inch version of this laptop, exactly the same. But let's see. So this is, yeah, it's a 600 gig image. But if I do this, shrink or extend, there we go. Oh, look, it fits perfectly. So now, and as you can see, right, if you kind of read these numbers, it says 35.98 gigabytes on the C drive, but then here it says the same thing. But then if you look on the bottom, it says 350.54, and this says 271.01. So that basically means, right, the 35 gigs is how much of the C drive has been used up, and this is how the bottom number is how big the partition is. So what this has done is it's resized the partition, because obviously it knows that these ones are important partitions. So the C drive, if you lose a bit of space, not a big deal. Anyways, let's click on next and finish. And now you just let it run and do its thing, and it's gonna image. Okay, so it took 40 minutes to image the hard drive, so let's click on OK, and now we can click on close. There we go. So now you don't have to do anything else. If you want to check it out right now, you can go on create backups, and that's the disk, right? So you can see all the partitions are right there. Now let's click on this. This is the exit button. You can also do it up in file and then exit, same thing. So yeah, let's reboot into the system now. It should just work. So let's unplug the hard drive. Let's see. Okay, right, let's see. There we go. Right, so it just took a bit of time to kind of refresh itself, but there we go. And it is freezing out here. It's absolutely freezing, and it's funny because my voice sounds a lot worse compared to the last few clips of the first part of this video. But let's see. Now obviously, if it when it comes to drivers, you might have to update the driver specifically made for this machine. So I can see that it's kind of stretched out, it's not in its full resolution right now, but you can update the drivers, all of that, and then you should be good to go. And of course, with activation, you should activate Windows using the product key or the built-in one in your BIOS, so make sure you do that. There we go. So you can see it's starting to install drivers. So let's see what it's installing, and I knew this would happen with all the resolution. There we go. Okay, yeah, you can see just a hell of a lot of drivers are just installing. Okay, so you can see that a lot of these drivers are updating. You can see a hell of a lot here, basically all of them. But I'm going to let the computer update its drivers. I'm going to stop the video, and then I'll be right back when everything is fully ready to be done and we can finish the video. Alright guys, and there you have it. After updating the drivers, everything is working just as intended. So as you can see, all the programs are right here, and it's got the original wallpaper, all the audio is working as well. There we go. So yeah, everything is good, and that's how you successfully image a laptop. Now I'm going to quickly show you the original laptop that this came from, because obviously earlier on I showed a different computer. So I'm going to shut this down real quick, and I'm going to get my other laptop turned on. And there we go, we got the RV711 turned on. It feels weird to say RV711 when I'm so used to saying RV511, but as you can see, it's exactly the same. Obviously the 511 is a bit smaller, so the icons are a little bit rearranged, but everything is exactly the same. The wallpapers, the name, the icons, all of that, the wallpapers, everything is all the same. That is how you image a computer using Macrium Reflect. Feel free to let me know how it works for you down in the comments. If you guys have any problems, I'll try to assist you. Just let me know what comes up, and I'll try my hardest to get back to you on that one. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next Lightning Quick Repairs episode.